Sometimes the most beautiful love stories begin with a locked door and a borrowed key, when two broken hearts accidentally find their way to healing each other. The clock on the wall showed 9:30 p.m. when Alex heard the sound. He looked up from his drawing table where blueprints were scattered everywhere. The sound came again. Someone was putting a key in his front door. His heart jumped. Who could it be at this hour? He lived alone in this small apartment on the 3rd floor. The divorce had been final for 3 months now, and he was still getting used to the silence. Every little sound made him nervous these days. The door opened slowly, and he heard a familiar laugh. It was Lily, his neighbor from across the hall. She peeked her head in, holding grocery bags in both hands. "Alex, are you home? I'm so sorry to bother you this late." He stood up quickly, pushing his chair back. "Lily, how did you get in?" She stepped inside, looking a bit embarrassed. "Remember? You gave me your spare key last month when I helped you move that heavy bookshelf. I'm locked out of my place and my phone is dead. I was hoping I could use yours to call a locksmith." Alex felt his shoulders relax. Lily was always doing things like this, getting locked out, forgetting her keys, running out of phone battery. She was the complete opposite of his ex-wife, who planned everything down to the minute. "Of course, no problem at all. Come in, come in." Lily walked in with that bouncy way she always moved. She was wearing a yellow sundress with paint stains on it, probably from her art classes at the community center. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy bun with a pencil stuck through it. She always had pencils or paintbrushes in her hair. She set her grocery bags on his kitchen counter. "I was at the store getting stuff for dinner when I realized I left my keys inside my apartment. I've been sitting in the hallway for 20 minutes trying to figure out what to do." Alex grabbed his phone from the coffee table. "Here, use this. Do you know any locksmith numbers?" "Not off the top of my head. Mind if I look them up online?" "Go ahead. Take your time." While Lily searched for locksmith numbers, Alex found himself watching her. She had this way of making everything seem fun, even being locked out of her apartment. She was humming softly while she scrolled through his phone, completely comfortable in his space. "Found one, but they can't come until tomorrow morning. Something about being busy with emergency calls tonight." She looked at him with those big brown eyes. "I'm really sorry to ask this, but could I maybe crash on your couch tonight? I promise I'll be gone first thing in the morning." Alex felt his stomach do a little flip. Having Lily spend the night felt like crossing some kind of line. Not because he didn't trust her. She was the sweetest person he'd ever met. But because lately he'd been having thoughts about her that weren't exactly neighborly. "You don't need to sleep on the couch," he said quickly. "I mean, you can have the bed. I'll take the couch." "No way. This is your place. I'm the one imposing." They stood there for a moment, both smiling awkwardly. Finally, Alex laughed. "How about we figure it out later? Are you hungry? I was about to order some food." Lily's face lit up. "Actually, I bought ingredients for pasta. I could cook for us if you want. It's the least I can do after barging in here." "You really don't have to do that." "I want to. Besides, I love cooking and I never get to cook for anyone except myself." Before Alex could protest more, Lily was already unpacking her grocery bags. She pulled out fresh tomatoes, garlic, basil, and a box of pasta. The smell of fresh basil filled his small kitchen. "Do you have olive oil? And maybe some Parmesan cheese?" Alex opened his fridge and pantry, feeling a bit embarrassed. "I have olive oil, but I'm not sure about cheese. I don't cook much these days." "That's okay. We'll make do with what we have." Lily moved around his kitchen like she belonged there. She found a pot for the pasta water and started chopping tomatoes on his cutting board. Alex stood there watching, not sure what to do with himself. "Don't just stand there," she said with a grin. "Come help me. You can be my sous chef." Alex found himself laughing for the first time in weeks. "I'm not much of a cook. Everyone can learn. Here, smell this basil." She held the fresh basil under his nose. The smell was incredible, fresh and bright and alive. When he looked up, her face was very close to his. For just a second, neither of them moved. Then Lily stepped back quickly, her cheeks turning pink. "So, can you start the water boiling?" They cooked together in comfortable silence after that. with Lily giving him small tasks. Stir this, taste that, hand me the salt. It felt natural, like they'd been doing this for years. The pasta turned out perfect. They sat at his small dining table, sharing the meal by candlelight because one of his light bulbs had burned out that morning. Lily told him funny stories about her art students, like the 6-year-old who painted his entire hand blue and then left handprints all over the classroom. "What about you?" she asked. "How's work going?" Alex shrugged. "Same as always. Drawing buildings, sitting in meetings, trying to make clients happy." "Do you like it?" The question caught him off guard. When was the last time someone had asked him that? "I used to. I got into architecture because I wanted to design beautiful spaces where people could live and work and be happy. But lately it feels like I'm just drawing boxes." Lily nodded seriously. "I know that feeling. Sometimes, I wonder if teaching art to kids is really making a difference or if I'm just keeping them busy for an hour." "Are you kidding? Those kids are lucky to have you. You probably make art feel magical for them." "You think so?" "I know so. You make everything feel a little more magical." The words came out before Alex could stop them. Lily looked at him with surprise and he felt his face get hot. "I mean," he said quickly, "you know how to find the fun in things. Like tonight, most people would be upset about being locked out, but you turned it into a dinner party." Lily smiled softly. Maybe we both needed a dinner party. They finished eating and cleaned up together. Lily washed dishes while Alex dried them and put them away. It felt so normal, so right, that Alex almost forgot this wasn't how every evening went. When they finished, they stood in his living room, both suddenly aware that it was getting late. "I should probably let you get some sleep," Lily said. "You have work tomorrow. What about you? Don't you have classes to teach?" "Not until the afternoon. I can sleep in a bit." Alex grabbed extra blankets and a pillow from his closet. "Are you sure you'll be comfortable on the couch?" "It's perfect. Thank you so much, Alex, for everything. The dinner was wonderful. Thank you for cooking. It was the best meal I've had in months." They said goodnight, and Alex went to his bedroom, but he couldn't fall asleep right away. He kept thinking about Lily in his kitchen, the way she'd smiled when she tasted the pasta sauce, how natural it felt to have her there, from the living room. He could hear her moving around quietly, getting settled on the couch. He wondered if she was having trouble sleeping too. For the first time since his divorce, Alex's apartment didn't feel empty. It felt like a home. The next few weeks changed everything, though Alex didn't realize it at first. It started small. Lily would knock on his door to borrow sugar or ask if he had a screwdriver she could use. Each time she'd end up staying for coffee or helping him organize his messy desk. Then she started bringing food. "I made too much soup," she'd say, carrying a pot that was clearly meant for 2 people. Or "I tried a new bread recipe and need someone to tell me if it's any good." Alex knew what was happening, but he didn't want to question it. For the first time in months, he looked forward to coming home from work. He never knew if Lily would be waiting in the hallway with her key problems, or if she'd show up later with dinner and stories from her day. One evening, Alex was working late at his drawing table when he heard the familiar knock. But when he opened the door, Lily looked different. Her usual bright smile was missing, and her eyes looked tired. "Hey," she said quietly, "are you busy?" "Never too busy for you, come in." She walked to his couch and sat down heavily. Alex had never seen her like this, still and quiet instead of bouncing with energy. "Want to talk about it?" he asked, sitting beside her. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Do you ever feel like you're not good enough? Like everyone else has their life figured out, but you're just pretending?" The question hit Alex right in the chest. Every single day. "I went to see my parents today. My mom kept asking when I'm going to get a real job, when I'm going to find a nice man and settle down. She says teaching art classes isn't a career. It's a hobby." Alex felt anger rise in his throat. That's not true. But what if it is? What if I'm just fooling myself? I'm 29 years old, and I'm still living paycheck to paycheck, still dreaming about opening my own art studio someday. Maybe it's time to grow up and be practical. Lily, look at me. Alex turned to face her on the couch. You light up every room you walk into. You make 6-year-olds believe they can create beautiful things. You cook amazing meals just to make other people happy. That's not pretending. That's living. Tears started in her eyes. But I'm so tired of being broke all the time. Tired of my family thinking I'm wasting my life. Sometimes I think maybe I should just get an office job and give up on the art thing. Would that make you happy? I don't know, maybe happiness is overrated. Maybe being stable and responsible is more important. Alex felt like someone had punched him. This wasn't the Lily he knew, the woman who found magic in everyday moments, who turned being locked out into a perfect evening. Can I tell you something? He said. Before you started coming around, I was the most stable, responsible person you could imagine. I had schedules and plans and everything organized perfectly. And I was miserable. Lily wiped her eyes. But you have a good job, a nice apartment. You have your life together. My life was falling apart. My marriage ended because we were both so focused on being practical and responsible that we forgot how to enjoy anything. We planned every vacation, scheduled every conversation, made lists for everything. But we never laughed together. We never stayed up too late talking about dreams. He reached over and took her hand. You taught me that life doesn't have to be a checklist. You can make pasta at 10 p.m. just because you want to. You can put art supplies everywhere and not worry about the mess. You can choose happiness. But what if I fail? What if I never make it as an artist? What if you do? What if that art studio becomes the most amazing place in the city, where people come to remember what it feels like to create something beautiful? Lily squeezed his hand. You really think that could happen? I think you could make anything happen. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, hands still connected. Alex became very aware of how close they were sitting, how her thumb was tracing small circles on his palm. Alex? She said softly. Yeah? Why are you so nice to me? The question surprised him. What do you mean? I mean, you barely knew me when I first knocked on your door asking for help. But you let me cook in your kitchen, sleep on your couch, come over whenever I need someone to talk to. Most people would think I'm too much, too messy, too emotional, too unpredictable. Alex felt his heart start beating faster. Maybe most people don't know what they're missing. Lily looked at him with those big brown eyes, and Alex felt like the air in the room had changed. Everything seemed quieter, more focused. I need to tell you something, she said. These past few weeks coming over here, it hasn't really been about borrowing things or needing help with my keys. I know, Alex said quietly. You know? Lily, you've been locked out of your apartment 6 times in 3 weeks. Either you're the most forgetful person in the world or you're looking for reasons to spend time with me. She laughed, but it was shaky. Busted. Why? He asked. Why did you want to spend time with me? Lily took a deep breath. Because when I'm here, I feel like the best version of myself. You listen to me talk about art like it matters. You laugh at my stories. You make me feel like I'm interesting and funny and worth being around. You are all of those things. But it's more than that, she continued. I think about you when I'm not here. I wonder what you're working on, if you've eaten dinner, if you're lonely in this apartment by yourself. And then I panic because I don't want to be that girl, the one who gets attached too fast and scares guys away. Alex's chest felt tight. You're not scaring me away. I'm not. Lily, you're the best part of my day. When you knock on that door, everything gets brighter. I've been looking forward to your visit so much that I started leaving my door unlocked just in case. Really? Really? But I didn't want to push anything because I thought maybe you just needed a friend. I didn't want to ruin what we have by wanting more. What if I want more too? The question hung in the air between them. Alex could hear his own heartbeat. Then I'd say we're both pretty lucky, he said finally. Lily smiled, the first real smile he'd seen from her all evening. So what do we do now? I don't know. I'm not very good at this. My last relationship was all planned out and scheduled. We dated for exactly 2 years, got engaged for exactly 1 year, then got married and divorced within 3 years. Everything was proper and expected and completely wrong. Maybe that's the problem, Lily said. Maybe the best things can't be planned. She was right, Alex realized. Everything good that had happened to him lately had been unexpected. Lily showing up at his door, cooking dinner together, these late-night conversations that made him feel more connected to another person than he had in years. So we just see what happens, he asked. We see what happens. Lily leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. Alex wrapped his arm around her, breathing in the scent of her hair. Paint, and vanilla, and something uniquely Lily. Alex, thank you for not letting me give up on my dreams tonight. Thank you for reminding me that I have dreams too. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other on the couch, both knowing that something had shifted between them but not wanting to rush or analyze it. For now, it was enough to know they weren't alone anymore. 2 weeks later, everything changed again. Alex had started looking forward to Lily's visit so much that he rearranged his whole evening routine around the possibility of seeing her. He'd come home from work and actually clean up his apartment, just in case. He'd buy extra groceries so he could cook for her if she wanted to stay for dinner. But that Thursday, Lily didn't come by. Or Friday. By Saturday morning, Alex was starting to worry. Had he said something wrong during their conversation on the couch? Had he moved too fast by telling her she was the best part of his day? Saturday afternoon, he finally heard her key in the door. But when she walked in, Alex could tell immediately that something was wrong. Her face was red like she'd been crying, and she didn't have her usual bounce. Lily? What happened? She closed the door behind her and leaned against it. I got some news yesterday, bad news. Alex's stomach dropped. Are you okay? Is someone hurt? No, nobody's hurt. It's about my art grant application. You know, the one I told you about? The grant that would let me open my own studio and teach art classes to kids who can't afford them. Alex nodded. Lily had mentioned the grant several times. It was her dream project, a place where children from low-income families could come after school and learn art for free. She'd been working on the application for months. They rejected it, she said simply. Oh, Lily, I'm so sorry. It gets worse. They didn't just reject it. They basically said my project wasn't worth funding, that there are already enough after-school programs in the city, and art classes aren't a priority when kids need help with math and reading. Alex felt anger start to build in his chest. That's ridiculous. Is it, though? Lily walked to his couch and sat down heavily. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just being selfish, wanting to teach art when kids need practical skills. That's not true, and you know it. Do I? Alex, this was my big chance. I've been saving money for 2 years, working extra jobs, living on pasta and peanut butter sandwiches so I could have enough to contribute to the startup costs. And for what? So some committee could tell me my dream isn't important enough? Alex sat beside her on the couch. What did the rejection letter actually say? Lily pulled a folded paper from her pocket. Dear Ms. Chen, thank you for your application for the Community Arts Grant. While your proposal shows creativity and passion, we have decided to fund projects that focus on academic achievement and measurable outcomes. We encourage you to consider how art education might be incorporated into existing STEM programs. Sincerely, the Grant Review Board. That's it? Alex asked. That's their whole explanation? Pretty much. Oh. And they suggested I apply again next year with a more academic focus, whatever that means. Alex read the letter again, getting angrier each time. This is wrong, Lily. They don't understand what you're trying to do. Maybe they understand perfectly. Maybe I'm the one who doesn't get it. Lily's voice was flat, defeated. Maybe art really isn't important enough. Maybe I should just accept that and find something else to do with my life. Stop. Alex turned to face her completely. Don't let them make you believe that. Why not? Look at the facts, Alex. I'm almost 30 years old. I live in a tiny apartment, I can barely pay my bills, and I just got rejected for the one grant that could have changed everything. Meanwhile, my sister is a lawyer making six figures. My brother is a doctor, and my parents keep asking when I'm going to get serious about my future. Are they artists? What? Your sister, your brother, your parents, are any of them artists? No, but what does that have to do with anything? Alex stood up and walked to his bookshelf. He pulled out a small framed photo and brought it back to the couch. This is a picture my grandmother drew of me when I was 8 years old. She wasn't a professional artist. She was a seamstress who drew pictures in her spare time. But look at it. Lily took the frame and studied the drawing. It was simple but beautiful. A little boy with messy hair and a gap-toothed grin, drawn with obvious love and attention. It's beautiful, she said softly. My grandmother died when I was 12. But every time I look at this picture, I can remember exactly how it felt to be 8 years old and know that someone saw me clearly enough to capture it on paper. That's not measurable, is it? There's no test score for that. But it's one of the most valuable things I own. Lily's eyes started to fill with tears again, but this time they looked different. That's what you do, Alex continued. You help kids see that they can create something beautiful, something that matters. You teach them that their ideas and feelings are worth putting down on paper. How do you measure that? How do you quantify the moment a shy kid realizes they can make something amazing? But the grant committee doesn't see it that way. Then they're wrong. And you know what? There are other grants, other ways to fund your dream. This was just one door closing. It doesn't mean all the doors are closed. Lily set the frame down carefully. I'm scared, Alex. What if this keeps happening? What if I keep trying and failing until I'm too old and tired to care anymore? Then at least you'll know you tried, but I don't think that's going to happen. How can you be so sure? Alex reached for her hands. Because I've seen what you do to people. You walked into my life when I was going through the motions, just existing instead of living. In a few weeks, you completely changed how I think about everything. You made me remember what it feels like to look forward to something. Alex, I'm not done. You want to know why I'm sure you're going to succeed? Because you don't just teach art. You teach people that it's okay to be creative, to take risks, to color outside the lines. The world needs that, especially kids. And you're not going to give up on them because some grant committee couldn't see past their spreadsheets. Lily was crying now, but she was also smiling. You have a lot of faith in me. I have the right amount of faith in you. They sat in silence for a moment, hands still connected. Then Lily looked at him with an expression he'd never seen before, determined, but also vulnerable. Alex, can I ask you something? Anything. These past few weeks spending time with you, it's been the best part of everything. Even when I'm stressed about work or worried about money, I know I can come here and everything will feel okay again. Alex felt his heart start beating faster. It's been the best part for me too. But I need to know, is this real? Are we building something together, or am I just the neighbor girl who keeps showing up at your door? The question took Alex's breath away. He realized that somewhere along the way, without planning it or even fully acknowledging it, he'd started falling in love with Lily. Not just with her beauty or her cooking or her laugh, but with everything she was, her creativity, her vulnerability, her determination to make the world a little more beautiful. Lily, he said carefully, what we have is the most real thing in my life right now. What does that mean for us? I don't know, but I'd like to find out if you want to. Lily looked at him for a long moment. Then she moved closer on the couch, close enough that Alex could count the flecks of gold in her brown eyes. I want to find out too, she said softly. Alex felt like his heart might beat right out of his chest. So what do we do now? I think, Lily said with a small smile, we stop pretending this is just about borrowed sugar and locked doors. And then we see what happens when we're honest about what we want. Alex reached up and touched her face gently. What do you want, Lily? I want to stop being afraid, she said. I want to stop running from good things because they might not last forever. I want to try building something beautiful with someone who sees me the way you do. I want that too. Even though I'm a mess, Even though I don't have my life figured out and I might never be practical or organized or any of the things a successful person is supposed to be, especially because of all that, Alex said. You're not supposed to be like everyone else, Lily. You're supposed to be exactly who you are. Lily smiled the brightest smile he'd ever seen from her. Okay then. Okay? Okay, let's try this. Let's see what happens when two people decide to choose each other, even when it's scary and uncertain and completely unplanned. Alex felt like laughing and crying at the same time. I think that sounds perfect. Good, Lily said, moving even closer. Because I'm done pretending I don't care about you more than I've ever cared about anyone. Me too. And then, finally, Alex did what he'd been wanting to do for weeks. He leaned in and kissed her. The next morning felt different. Alex woke up earlier than usual, not because his alarm went off, but because he couldn't stop smiling. Last night had changed everything. After their first kiss, he and Lily had talked until almost 2 in the morning, sitting close on his couch, holding hands and making plans they'd been too scared to voice before. They'd decided to be honest about their feelings. No more pretending they were just neighbors. No more making excuses to see each other. They were going to try being together for real. Alex was making coffee when he heard Lily's key in the door, but this time was different. She didn't knock first, or call out to ask if he was home. She walked in with confidence, like she belonged there. Good morning, she said, and her voice had a new warmth in it. Good morning, Alex replied, feeling his stomach do that happy flip it always did when he saw her. Lily was wearing jeans and a soft green sweater that made her eyes look brighter. Her hair was down, falling in waves around her shoulders. She looked beautiful, but more than that, she looked happy. Really, truly happy in a way Alex hadn't seen before. I brought breakfast, she said, holding up a bag from the bakery down the street. I figured we should celebrate. Celebrate what? Us. This. The fact that we finally stopped being scared of what we wanted. Alex felt his heart speed up. I liked the sound of that. They sat at his small kitchen table, sharing pastries and coffee while the morning sun came through the window. Everything felt easy and natural, but also special. Like they were starting something new together. So, Lily said, breaking off a piece of croissant, I've been thinking about what you said yesterday, about there being other ways to fund my art studio dream. And I think you're right. I spent so much time putting all my hope into one grant that I forgot there might be other options. Alex leaned forward. What kind of options? Well, I could start smaller. Maybe rent a small space part-time and offer weekend classes first. Build up a client base and show people what the program could become. Then when I apply for grants next time, I'll have proof that it works. That's a great idea. Do you have enough saved to try something like that? Lily nodded. I think so. It won't be the big, beautiful studio I imagined, but it would be a start. And starting is better than giving up, right? Much better. There's something else, Lily said, and her cheeks turned a little pink. I was wondering if maybe you'd want to help me look for spaces. I don't know anything about leases and square footage and all that practical stuff, but you're an architect, you understand buildings and spaces. Alex felt a warm glow in his chest. You want me to help you find your art studio? If you want to. I mean, I don't want to assume that just because we kissed last night, you're ready to get involved in my crazy business plans. Lily. Alex reached across the table and took her hand. I would love to help you find your studio. I've been wanting to be part of your dream since the day you cooked pasta in my kitchen. Really? Really. In fact, I have an idea. What if we spend today driving around the city looking at different neighborhoods? We could see what's available, what fits your budget, what feels right. Lily's eyes lit up. Like a date? The best kind of date. The kind where we're building something together. 2 hours later, they were in Alex's car, driving through different parts of the city. Lily had made a list of requirements for her ideal space. Good lighting, safe neighborhood, parking for parents, affordable rent. Alex had his architect's eye, pointing out things like electrical capacity and heating systems. Their first stop was a small storefront in the arts district. It was perfect in many ways. Big windows, high ceilings, the right size for classes. but the rent was twice what Lily could afford. "Don't get discouraged," Alex said as they walked back to the car. "We're just getting started." The second place was cheaper but had no windows and smelled like old fish from the restaurant next door. "Next," Lily said, laughing. The third place was in a strip mall 20 minutes from downtown. It was clean and bright with reasonable rent, but something about it felt wrong to both of them. "It's too corporate," Lily said as they stood in the empty space. "I want kids to feel like they're entering a magical place where anything is possible. This feels like a dentist's office." They tried 4 more places that afternoon. Each one was wrong in a different way. Too expensive, too dark, too small, in the wrong neighborhood. By 5 o'clock, Lily was starting to look discouraged. "Maybe this was a stupid idea," she said as they sat in the car outside the last location they'd looked at. "Maybe I should just keep teaching classes at the community center and forget about having my own space." "Hey." Alex turned to face her. "We looked at 7 places today. That doesn't mean there aren't more out there." "But what if there aren't? What if I can't find anything that works?" Alex thought for a moment. "Can I show you something?" "Sure." Alex started the car and drove to a part of town they hadn't visited yet. It was an older neighborhood with tree-lined streets and small local businesses. He parked in front of a building with a "For Rent" sign in the window. "I noticed this place last week when I was meeting a client nearby," Alex said. "I thought of you, but I didn't want to say anything until we'd looked at other options." They got out of the car and peered through the windows. The space was larger than most of what they'd seen, with beautiful hardwood floors and huge windows that let in lots of natural light. There were built-in shelves along one wall that would be perfect for art supplies. "Alex," Lily whispered. "It's perfect. Let's call the number and see if we can look inside." 20 minutes later, they were walking through the empty space with the landlord, a friendly older woman named Mrs. Patterson. She explained that the previous tenant had been a bookstore that closed when the owner retired. "I've been looking for the right person to take over," Mrs. Patterson said. "Someone who would bring life back to this space. What kind of business are you planning?" Lily explained her vision: art classes for children, a place where creativity could flourish, programs for kids who might not otherwise have access to art education. Mrs. Patterson's eyes lit up. "My granddaughter would love something like that. There's nothing like it in this neighborhood." They talked about rent, lease terms, and move-in dates. The rent was at the top of Lily's budget, but not impossible. Mrs. Patterson was willing to be flexible about the deposit and even said she'd help with some of the renovation work. As they drove home, Lily was practically bouncing in her seat. "I can't believe this is really happening. 6 months ago, I was ready to give up on the whole idea. Now I might actually have my own studio." "You're going to have your own studio," Alex corrected. "This is really happening." "But what if I fail? What if no one signs up for classes? What if I can't pay the rent?" Alex pulled the car over and parked. "Lily, look at me." She turned to face him. "You're not going to fail. But even if things don't go exactly as planned, you'll figure it out. You're one of the strongest, most creative people I've ever met. And you're not doing this alone anymore." "What do you mean?" "I mean, I want to be part of this with you. Not just helping you find the space, but really being part of it. I could help with the business side, design the layout, maybe even teach some classes about architecture and building design." Lily stared at him. "You would do that?" "I would love to do that. I've been drawing office buildings for so long. I'd forgotten that architecture could be about creating beautiful spaces where people learn and grow and discover what they're capable of." "Alex, that's the most romantic thing anyone has ever said." "To me? Really? Really? You're not just supporting my dream, you're making it our dream." Alex felt his chest fill with warmth. "Is that okay with you?" "It's more than okay. It's everything I didn't know I wanted." They drove home as the sun was setting, making plans and dreaming out loud about what the studio could become. Lily talked about the different classes she wanted to offer: painting for beginners, drawing for teens, mixed media for adults. Alex sketched ideas for how to divide the space, where to put sinks for cleanup, how to maximize the natural light. That night, they sat on Alex's couch with notebooks and laptops, making lists and researching suppliers and figuring out all the practical details that would turn Lily's dream into reality. "I have one more idea," Alex said around midnight. "What's that?" "What if we made this official? What if instead of you renting the space and me helping out, we became business partners?" Lily looked up from her notebook. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious. You have the artistic vision and teaching skills. I have business experience and architectural knowledge. Together, we could create something amazing." "But Alex, this is my dream. I don't want you to feel like you have to—" "You're not making me do anything," Alex interrupted gently. "This is what I want. For the first time in years, I'm excited about a project. I wake up thinking about it and go to sleep planning it. That's not obligation, that's passion." Lily set down her notebook and moved closer to him on the couch. "Are you sure? Because once we do this, there's no going back. We'll be tied together in business and in life." Alex looked into her eyes. "I can't think of anyone I'd rather be tied to." "Okay then," Lily said, smiling that bright smile that made Alex's heart race. "Let's do this. Let's build something beautiful together." Partners? Partners. 6 months later, Alex stood in the doorway of what used to be an empty storefront, watching 20 kids work on their art projects. The space had been transformed into everything Lily had dreamed of, and more. Colorful paintings covered the walls, plants hung from the ceiling, and every corner was filled with the kind of creative energy that made people smile just by walking in. The Creative Corner studio had opened 3 months ago, and they were already thinking about expanding. Word had spread quickly through the neighborhood about the amazing art classes taught by the enthusiastic woman with paint-stained fingers and the quiet architect who could teach kids to see buildings as works of art. "Mr. Alex," called out Mia, a 7-year-old who had become one of his favorite students. "Look what I made." Alex walked over to see her latest creation, a colorful drawing of a house with impossible architecture. Windows floated in midair, the roof curved like a wave, and the front door was shaped like a heart. "It's incredible, Mia. Tell me about it." "It's a house where happy families live," she explained seriously. "The windows float so they can always see beautiful things, and the wavy roof catches rainbows when it rains." "I love it," Alex said, and he meant it. 6 months ago, he'd been designing boring office buildings. Now he spent his afternoons learning from kids who understood that buildings could be magical. Across the room, Lily was helping a group of teenagers work on a mural they were creating for the community center. She was covered in paint, as usual, and laughing at something one of her students had said. Alex felt that familiar flutter in his chest that happened every time he watched her work. "Okay, everyone," Lily called out as the class time wound down. "Let's clean up our spaces. Remember, next week we're starting our collaborative sculpture project." The kids began putting away supplies and cleaning brushes while Alex helped organize the finished artwork. This was his favorite part of the day, seeing what the students had created, hearing their explanations of their work, watching their confidence grow week by week. As the last student left with their parent, Alex and Lily found themselves alone in their studio. It was something that still amazed Alex. Their studio. The dream that had started in his living room had become real, and it was better than either of them had imagined. "Good day?" he asked, wrapping his arms around Lily from behind as she washed paintbrushes at the sink. "The best," she said, leaning back against him. "Did you see what Tommy painted today?" It was his first time trying watercolors, and he created this amazing sunset scene. He was so proud of himself. "I saw, he's really opening up." Tommy was a quiet 12-year-old whose parents had enrolled him in classes because he was having trouble making friends at school. In just 2 months, he'd gone from barely speaking to eagerly sharing his artistic ideas with the class. "That's what I love most about this place," Lily said, turning around in Alex's arms. "We're not just teaching kids how to draw or paint. We're giving them a place where they can express themselves and feel proud of what they create. And we're doing it together." The best part of all, Alex looked around their studio, at the artwork covering the walls, the organized supplies, the comfortable seating area where parents could watch their kids' classes. Everything was exactly as they'd planned it, but somehow better because it was real. "Remember when you thought you'd have to give up on this dream?" he asked. "I try not to think about that," Lily said with a shudder. "What a mistake that would have been. I'm glad you didn't give up. I'm glad you kept knocking on my door with your borrowed sugar and your locked out of the apartment stories." Lily laughed. "I can't believe you knew I was making excuses all along." "I suspected, but I didn't care. I was hoping you'd keep finding reasons to come over. And now I don't need excuses anymore." No excuses needed. They finished cleaning up the studio together, the same way they did everything now, as a team. Alex handled the business side of things while Lily managed the creative programs, but they made all the big decisions together. It was the kind of partnership Alex had never experienced before, where both people's strengths made the whole thing stronger. As they locked up and walked to Alex's car, Lily said, "I have something to tell you." "What's that?" "Mrs. Chen called today. She wants to enroll her twin boys in our summer intensive program." Alex smiled. Mrs. Chen lived 3 neighborhoods over and had heard about their studio through word of mouth. "That's great. The summer program is filling up fast. There's more. She asked if we'd be interested in partnering with her community center to offer classes there too. She said there are lots of families in her area who would love something like this but can't make the drive over here." Alex stopped walking. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying maybe it's time to think about expanding, opening a second location." "Lily, that's amazing. How do you feel about it?" "Excited, scared, overwhelmed. All of the above." She took his hand as they reached the car. "But mostly excited. 6 months ago I was worried about getting one little studio off the ground. Now we're talking about opening a second location." "We can take it slow," Alex said. "Research the area, look at the numbers, make sure it makes sense. Look at you, being all practical and business-minded. Someone has to balance out your wild creative ambitions," Alex teased. "Hey, my wild creative ambitions got us here." "They did, and they're going to take us even further." They drove home, to Alex's apartment, which had gradually become their apartment as Lily spent more and more time there. Her art supplies were mixed in with his architecture books, her bright paintings hung next to his technical drawings, and her plants had taken over every windowsill. That night, they sat at the kitchen table with Chinese takeout and a notebook, planning their potential expansion just like they'd planned their first studio. But this time felt different. They weren't nervous beginners hoping their dream might work out. They were experienced business partners with a proven track record of success. "What do you think?" Lily asked, after they'd filled several pages with notes and ideas. "Are we ready to take on a second studio?" Alex looked at her across the table. Her hair was still streaked with paint from the day's classes, and she had that focused expression she got when she was planning something big. She was beautiful and brilliant and completely fearless when it came to chasing her dreams. "I think," he said carefully, "that we can do anything we set our minds to. Together. Together." Lily closed the notebook and moved to sit beside Alex. "Can I tell you something?" "Always." "A year ago, I thought I'd have to choose between love and my career dreams. I thought I could focus on finding success or finding someone special, but not both at the same time. What changed your mind?" "You did. You showed me that the right person doesn't make you choose between love and dreams. They become part of making your dreams come true." Alex felt his throat get tight with emotion. "You did the same thing for me. I was so focused on being safe and practical that I'd forgotten how to dream at all. You reminded me that the best things in life come from taking chances with the right person. So we're good at this, building dreams together. We're the best at it." Lily leaned against him and Alex wrapped his arms around her. Through the window they could see the lights of the city, full of possibilities and adventures they hadn't imagined yet. "Alex?" "Yeah?" "I love you." It wasn't the first time she'd said it, but it still made Alex's heart race like it was brand new. "I love you too." "What do you think happens next for us?" Alex thought about it. They had their studio, their partnership, their shared dreams and daily routines. But somehow it felt like they were still just at the beginning of something bigger. "I think," he said, "we keep building. We open that second studio, maybe a third, one someday. We keep teaching kids that they can create beautiful things. We keep figuring out how to balance your wild ideas with my practical planning. And personally, what happens with us? With us, I think we just keep choosing each other every day, keep supporting each other's dreams, keep making each other laugh, keep turning ordinary evenings into something special." That sounds perfect. It does, doesn't it? They sat together in comfortable silence, thinking about the future they were building together. It wasn't the kind of love story Alex had expected. It hadn't started with a dramatic first meeting or followed any predictable timeline. Instead, it had grown slowly from friendship and shared dreams, from late-night conversations and daily choices, to support each other. But as he held Lily in their kitchen, surrounded by evidence of the life they'd created together, Alex knew it was exactly the love story he'd needed. The kind where two people don't just fall for each other, but build something beautiful together that's bigger than either of them could create alone. Outside, the city hummed with life and possibility. Inside, Alex and Lily were already home.